because of my Magical Season craft table, the people really loved the cute crochet dachshund puppy dogs. They were one of the favorites, and one lady actually wanted to have a custom one made that looked like her dachshund puppy dog. So this was the result. I used the same pattern, so you can find the free YouTube video tutorial for my crochet dachshund puppy dog on my YouTube channel, and also I have a paid written pattern available in Ravelry as well as HelenMay Crochet Studio. So if you want to find HelenMay Crochet Studio, just go to my blog www.helenmaycrochet.com and you'll find the link to HelenMay Crochet Studio at the top of my homepage. So this video tutorial, I am not going to show all the parts for this adorable crochet dachshund puppy dog because I followed the exact same pattern that's available for free on my YouTube channel that shows you how to make it step by step. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the differences. So I'm going to show you how I made the little white portion, if you like that, for the snout, as well as how to make these color changes. So I'm going to show you how to make the color changes. And this color change I did a little bit differently from my crochet Boston Terrier dog. So if you want a different color change method, you can go to my separate video tutorial for the crochet Boston Terrier dog. I also have a Cavalier English Spaniel, but that one doesn't have a video tutorial. That one only has a written pattern. So the difference between the crochet Boston Terrier dog and this dog, which I'm going to show you on this video tutorial, is I carried the yarn. So I carried two different yarn colors in the crochet Boston Terrier dog. So when you carry the yarn, sometimes you'll see the color that you're carrying under the alternate color. So with this one, you can see that that does not happen. So for this video tutorial, if you like the look better without seeing the alternate color, then you'll like this method that I use, and I'm going to show you on this video tutorial. So I'm using the same materials. I'm using my 3.75mm crochet hook. You're also going to need your tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. If you like the color of my puppy dog, I used Vanna's Choice Lion brand. Here's some information about this yarn. You'll only need one skein for one puppy dog, and you may even be able to make two. I had used some of my leftover yarn, so I can't tell if you can make an actual two whole puppy dogs from this one skein, but I know that one puppy dog definitely you'll have enough to complete one puppy dog. The color that I used is Rust. And again, I used Vanna's Choice Lion brand, medium 4 acrylic yarn. The alternate color that I use is by Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. So one skein, I have plenty to make as many. I've already made two puppy dogs with this yarn, so I have tons left over for other projects. And again, it's a medium 4 acrylic yarn, and the color is soft white. So if you want a whiter white, you can just use regular white, but the ones that I made, I just used my soft white colored yarn and it worked great. For my nose, I just used Karen's Simply Soft yarn. You could use Red Heart Black too if you wanted to. I just like the Karen Simply Soft because you get that sheen, glossy look to the nose. So I used this colored black yarn for my nose, for my puppy dogs. If you like the scarf that I made, the color, I used Red Heart with Love Premium. Here's some information about this yarn. This was just some of my leftover yarn that I'm using, and the color is Blue Hawaii. It's a medium 4 acrylic yarn. If you like the little charms that I used, I got a really great deal for these little dog charms, and I've already used 2 of them. I'm going to pick another one for the one I'm making on video tutorial. But they're by Hildy and Joe, Symbolize, and it comes with a pack of 9 charms, so it was a really good value. The eyes that I used are 15mm Fab Lab eyes, but the one on video tutorial I'm going to be using a 16mm, which is really close. I just love these blue glittery eyes by Fab Lab. I'm not too happy with the backing for these, so I may choose a backing from one of my cheaper safety doll eyes. That works as well. I use the 15mm ones. But you can also get really gorgeous safety doll eyes from 6060 Eyes online. So you can thank Beatrice for this adorable little design in this video tutorial. If you want to see the original little dog pictures that Beatrice wanted me to try to replicate, just go to my blog post, Crochet Dachshund Dog and Puppy Dog, and towards the end of the blog post you'll see the real dog's pictures. The real dog is just adorable too. And also there's a separate blog post for the Magical Season Craft Fair. So if you want to see what products I had on at my craft fair table, you can go to my blog www.HelenMayCrochet.com and you can see more about that. Now for the first difference that I'm going to show you is for the snout. I made this little white strip that went between the eyes. So you make the snout the exact same way as my free YouTube video tutorial, the separate one, as well as the written pattern. Now the only difference is, now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch. That part is the same, so you slip stitch into the next stitch over. And then here is where the difference is. So the difference is I went into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, make a single crochet, then just chain 1, turn your work, and then make a single crochet into the next stitch over. Then you're just going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to sew the top part of the snout. And here is what it will look like. So when I went to sew this snout on with the little strip that goes between the eyes, I sewed the strip first because I don't want it to be crooked. So I lined it up where I wanted it to fall, so just above the safety doll eyes, and then right between, centered exactly, and then I sewed it along the one side here because I wanted it below the safety doll eye. I wanted a little bit of the color of the main color of the dog to be under the eye. And I wanted that for both sides. And you also have to make sure that they're even on both sides. So just sew this portion first, then stop. You can drop the yarn and come back to it. The next part that I sewed was the bottom of the snout. So I lined that up the exact same way that I did for the original puppy dog. Then after you've lined up that portion, made sure that the nose stayed centered and you lined up the top portion, then you can make sure you have all the stuffing in the nose that you want, and then just sew the sides. And you want to make sure that the sides are also even on both sides in relation to the safety doll eyes. Okay, so now for the body. The body I started the exact same way. The only difference is I started with my soft white colored yarn and I finished all of the increase rounds and then one single crochet into 4 stitches for 4 rounds. And just like in the separate video tutorial and in the written pattern, I changed colors at this point. So now I'm going to show you a different way to make your color changes. So I just finished my single crochet stitch into the last stitch for the round, And you can see that you have one loop remaining on your crochet hook when you do this. So now for the color change, we're going to bring up the new yarn through this loop on the crochet hook. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm just taking my rust colored yarn, which is what I'm using for this particular crochet dog, and I'm going to bring up a loop through that hook, through that loop that's on my crochet hook. So you just kind of grab the yarn with your crochet hook, and you can turn your crochet hook so it's facing down and then bring it through that loop. Then you're just going to set your work down, and you're going to take the previous colored yarn and you're going to tie a knot. So for mine, I just like to make a triple knot. Then you're going to take and cut the previous colored yarn. So now you have your new colored yarn on your crochet hook, and you're going to go into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn over and go through both loops for a single crochet. So you have your color change complete. So for this dog, what I did, and you can make your own unique color change however you want for your particular dog, but I made one single crochet into every stitch for a total of 19 stitches. So if you're making yours just like mine, go ahead and make one single crochet in every stitch for only 19 stitches and then come back. So here you can see that I made one single crochet into 19 stitches, and now I want to change back to my soft white colored yarn. So I'm going to bring up the loop, and again for this color change, after I've finished my single crochet stitch, and I'll redo that for you. So this is my 18th single crochet. So I'm going to make one single crochet into the next stitch to complete my 19th single crochet stitch. And you can see that when you finish the stitch, you'll always have that one loop remaining on your crochet hook. That is the loop that I'm going to make the color change in. So I'm going to take and yarn over and just bring the new colored yarn through that loop on the crochet hook. Then I'm going to set my work down, and then I'm going to tie a knot with the previous colored yarn and the loose yarn end from the new color. And just tie a nice knot there. And again, I like to do triple knots just to make sure it doesn't come undone. And then you're ready to crochet with your new color. So you just keep going. Whoop, not quite yet. You have to cut your previous color. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the previous color. Then you're ready to crochet with your new color. So you can see how it's a little bit different than my crochet Boston Terrier dog, because with my crochet Boston Terrier dog, I carried the rust colored yarn or the alternate colored yarn with me as I crocheted. And the reason why I didn't do that for this dog is because I want to show how you can crochet it and you won't see the rust colored through the white colored as you crochet. So when you carry the yarn with you, sometimes you'll see the rust colored yarn bleed through the white colored yarn. And that's okay for certain dogs. Certain dogs will have that appearance on their coat, but with this particular dog, I noticed that in the pictures there wasn't any kind of bleeding through with the alternate color, so I wanted a pure white color for the alternate color change, and this is how I'm achieving that look. So if you like that look, you can crochet like this, and if you don't mind that bleeding through of the alternate color, then you may like my Crochet Boston Terrier dog video tutorial where I show how to use that method. So then you just keep making one single crochet in every stitch until you get to the color change. Now, one important thing that I want you to be aware of is that when you're making these type of color changes, your stitch count may increase. So, and that's because at the color change, you can see that here's the one stitch and here's the next stitch. But you see this area in between? Sometimes that looks like a stitch, and then it might add another stitch count to your round. So it's going to be very important that you keep track of your stitch count and maintaining your stitch count. So sometimes what I'll do, and I'm going to show you with this color change, is as I'm approaching my next color change, and this is where you can have fun too. You can change colors at any point that you want to. So if you want to slant your color change, you can do that, or if you want to keep your color change in the same area, you can do that as well. So for mine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together. Here you can see it looks like I have 2 stitches remaining before I get to my color change. So I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together, which will decrease that stitch count to 1. So you just go into that next stitch, you bring up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. Go into the next stitch, and it looks like a stitch, but it's not actually a stitch. That's just where we had our color change. That's the loop that we made our color change in, and it looks like a stitch, which can be deceiving. So you're going to go into that point with your crochet hook, bring up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 loops for a single crochet 2 stitches together. So now you're ready for your color change. So again, you have the 1 loop on your crochet hook. That's the loop that you're going to bring up a yarn with the alternate color. And then again, you just change colors, and I'm going to cut my previous colored yarn, but I'll tie my knot first. So now I'm going to cut the previous colored yarn, and I'm ready to crochet with my new colored yarn. So I'm going to go into that first stitch, bring up a loop, and don't worry about the loose yarn ends. Those are all going to stay into the wrong side of your work and act as stuffing for the body. Then you just continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch back to where you're going to change colors again. Now what I want you to do is make your stitch count now. So go ahead and just double check your stitch count. Count how many stitches that you have in your round. So for mine, I still have a stitch count of 36. So, which is what I have in my separate, for the original puppy dog, was a 36 stitch count that you need to maintain. So now you know how to make a decrease stitch, single crochet 2 stitches together, which will decrease the stitch count by 1. So I must have had 37 stitches because of that color change that looked like a stitch, but because I made that single crochet 2 stitches together, then it maintained my stitch count of 36, which is what I want. And the reason why you want to keep checking this is because if you don't and you keep increasing, then it's going to ruin the size of your body. So you want to maintain the stitch count by 36. Now, if you finish a round and you notice, oh no, I've got 38 stitches in the round, don't worry. You can keep the stitch count 38. You don't have to frog it or undo it. What you do is, for the next round, you need to evenly space your single crochet 2 stitches together, whether it be where you make your color changes, or you can make them anywhere in your work. Just make the number of single crochet 2 stitches together that you need to maintain your stitch count. So then when you finish the next round, it should bring you back to the stitch count that you want. So now I'm happy with my stitch count, so I'm going to continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch with my new color until I get to where I want to make my next color change. So this hasn't happened to me, but I want to show you in case it happens to you. So say, we want to maintain the stitch count. So for mine, I'm maintaining a stitch count of 36. But say your work got smaller somehow. So now you made too many single crochet 2 stitches together, and now you only have 35 stitches. So what you can do is evenly space and increase stitch. So to make an increase stitch, all you do is make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So 2 single crochet into the same stitch will increase the stitch count for the round by 1. So I'm not going to do that, I'm just showing you. So mine is fine. So now I'm moving up to the next color change, and I'm just going to show you these stitches. This is what my stitches look like. So here I have 1 stitch, and here is my second stitch, and this is the tricky stitch. So this is the one that tricks people into thinking it's a stitch, when that's actually just the little loop where we made our color change. So don't get tricked by that and keep increasing your stitch count for each round because you thought that was a stitch. So for mine, I'm going to crochet and show you how I made my color change. So I'm going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then for the next one I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 2 stitches together. And it's not really crocheting 2 stitches together because the other stitch that I'm crocheting together is actually the little loop that looks like a stitch. So I'm going to bring up a loop at that point in the stitch that looks like a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through all 3 to complete the stitch. And now I'm ready for my color change. So this is where I have the 1 loop remaining on my hook. I'm going to bring up the new color, or the alternate color, set my work down, and then tie a knot with the previous color. Now the knots are important because you don't want your work to come undone, all of your hard work. So I found that these knots work great for keeping your work intact. And then I just cut my previous colored yarn, and then I'm ready to crochet with my new color. So I'm going to go into the next stitch, and then I just make 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get to the color change portion again. So go ahead, finish making your 1 single crochet until you get to the next color change portion, and then come back. So now I'm back to my color change portion again, but I just wanted to show you something real quick. So here you can see that my yarn marker is still in place. You want to keep that in place because you want to know where you are in your rounds for your body. So far I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. So for my little puppy dog, I made a total of 24 rounds. So that's the same as in the video tutorial, the separate video tutorial. So you can make the short one or the long one. So this one's 24, and I've made some puppy dogs with 33. But for this one, I stuck with the 24 rounds. Now the other thing that I want to show you is where I started making these little cute squares on the puppy dog. So here you can see how you can have fun with the color changes. So I changed it to make it look like a unique spot on the crochet dog, and I'll show you a little bit of that on this one as well for this next one. But what I want to show you is where in my rounds that I started the little dots. So here is where I started my color changing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. So on the 10th round is where I make the little cute dots on the back. So on this dog, you can see I'm only on the 3rd round. So when we get to, after I show you a couple of these rounds, then we'll continue on until you get to the 10th round. So now you can see I'm back to the point where I have my stitch and then that little color loop stitch where I changed colors to the new color or the alternate color. So I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 2 stitches together to include that little loop where I made my color change. So I'm going to go right into that space. You don't want to go into the color change space. You want to go into that, under that loop where you grabbed your new color, and then just bring up a loop. And then just yarn over and then bring the yarn through all 3. Now this is where you can change, where you change colors. So for mine, I want to extend the white over. If you want to just maintain the color, then you would keep changing colors at the same point that I did. But I'm going to extend the color over a little bit. So I'm going to make a single crochet into the next stitch with my soft white color. And I'm going to go in 2 stitches. And like I said, you could play with yours. And I'm making this one a little bit different from even my other 2 that I made. This one's going to be for my friend when I'm finished. So now I'm ready to change colors. So I'm going to bring in my new color and I'm going to bring up the color in the little loop just like I've done before and shown you. Then I'm going to take and tie a knot. And then I'm just going to cut my previous colored yarn. And then I'm going to continue crocheting. So go ahead, finish your rounds until you have a total of 10, and then come back and I'll show you how I made these cute little dots for a unique look for your puppy dog. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 color change rounds. So here you could see how I made a slant. So I was making additional stitches to extend the color over at a slant. Now I'm going to show you where I change colors in the same spot until we get to the 10th round where we want to make the little unique spots. So here I'm going to start with my new color and just make single crochet, but when I come back around I will show you how I'm going to change color in the exact same spot. That way you can see how you can make a slant or you can maintain a straight edge with the color change. So now I'm back around and this is where I want to maintain my straight edge. So I'm just going to show you that I have 1 stitch and then, so I have 1 remaining stitch with this color, but it looks like I have 2 stitches because the loop where I made the color change looks like a stitch. So to keep a straight color change, meaning you don't want it going at a slant, you want to keep it straight, you're going to stop at this point where you have 1 stitch left and the loop that looks like a stitch. Then what you do is you go into the next stitch and bring up a loop. So this is the real stitch. Now I have 2 loops on the hook, and then I'm going to go into the loop where we made the color change and looks like a stitch and bring up a loop. Now if that loop is too tight and you can't get your crochet hook in there because it's really tight, then you can go ahead and just make a single crochet. The reason why I do single crochet 2 stitches together is because sometimes that loop that looks like a stitch is too wide and you don't want any gaps. So to prevent that, I use the single crochet 2 stitches together to kind of close that gap and make sure that I only have 1 stitch there. Then you're ready to change colors. So I'm going to bring in my next color. And then I'm going to tie a knot and then cut my previous color. Then I'm ready to resume, and you want to make sure you go into the first white stitch or color for the next color stitch, which mine happens to be the white. And then you just continue like you've been doing. And again, I can't overstress counting your stitches, especially if you're a beginner, to make sure that you're maintaining your stitch count for the body. So now I'm back around, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like so far. So here you can see where I've been extending and keeping it at a slant for the color change, for the alternate look. And here is where I'm going to show you how to keep a straight look, if you like having the straight look. So now I'm back to the area where I'm trying to keep a straight look and not an angle. And you can see that I have 1 stitch remaining. And then this stitch is the loop where I made the color change, but you can see how it's deceiving and looks like another stitch. So now mine is fairly large, so I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet 2 stitches together to maintain my stitch count, which is 36 for mine. And then I'm ready to change colors again. And you can see how it's maintaining the straight look. So go ahead, finish all of your color changes until you get to round 10. So for mine I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I need 2 more. I'm going to go ahead and color change with you. So I need 2 more rounds, and then I'll show you the other unique look, the spots, how to create the little spots, the cute spots on the back. So now I'm on round 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also demonstrated how you can make a slant look to your color change or a straight look for your color change. So now I'm going to show you how to make the spots. Now on my last chain, you can either cut your previous colored yarn, but since my spots will be so close to where the color change was, I'm not cutting my previous colored yarn. I'm just going to drop it, and I'm going to pick it up later. So now you're just going to crochet with your white colored yarn, and then you're going to go into the next stitch and make your single crochet just like you have been doing for the previous rounds. And then you're just going to make 1 single crochet until you get to the spot where you want to make your first dot. So for mine, I'm just going to make a single crochet. Here's the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and then I'm going to make mine in the 7th spot. So I'm just going to, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochet. I have my loop on my hook. I'm going to pick up the previous colored yarn, which is my rust color, and then I'm going to bring up a loop with the rust colored yarn. So I'm just going to bring up a loop. Then I'm going to pull gently on the white colored yarn to cinch that loop around the new color, and then just drop the white colored yarn, and you can hold it behind on the wrong side, the white colored yarn. And then you're going to make one single crochet into the next stitch with your new color. So you just bring up a loop with your new color and then just make a single crochet. And then you're just going to make a single crochet into the next two, just one stitch, because my spot, I only want it to have one single crochet into 2 stitches. But you can make your spots as large or as small as you want. So then I'm going to drop my rust colored yarn, and then I'm going to pick up my white colored yarn. And then I'm just going to hold on to the rust colored yarn into the back. I'm going to bring up a loop with my white colored yarn, and then I'm just going to pull on the rust colored yarn to cinch the loop around the white colored yarn. So I'm just going to pull on that and then hold it, and then cinch the loop with the white colored yarn around the hook. Then you're ready to make a single crochet into each stitch until you get to where you want to make your second little spot. So my second little spot, I think I will make over here. So I counted over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I'm going to put my 2 little spots. And you can change it around. This is even different from my last one, so each one could be unique. You could put your spots wherever you want. I'm just showing you how I made the spots. Then you pick up your rust colored yarn from the back, and you're going to bring up a loop with your rust colored yarn, and again you're just going to take and cinch down that white colored yarn, and you can hold it in the back and then pull down the loop with the rust colored yarn, and then you just make one single crochet into the next 2 stitches for your second spot. So this is what it looks like on the right side, and then this is what's going on the wrong side. So now I'm ready to drop the rust colored yarn, and I'm going to pick up my white colored yarn. I'm going to bring up a loop with the white colored yarn, cinch down the rust colored yarn, and then just leave the rust colored yarn where it lies. We're going to come back to it when we get back around. So now I'm going to cinch down the rust colored yarn again to make sure that the loop isn't too big on the stitch, and then I have the white colored yarn around my hook, and I'm ready to crochet with the white colored yarn. Now if your color change is too far away, you can go ahead and tie a knot with the rust colored yarn. I'm just leaving it because I'm going to bring it over for the color change that I'm going to do right here. So remember, I'm single crocheting 2 stitches together only because the color loop looked like a stitch. Now I'm ready to bring over my rust colored yarn. I'm going to bring up a loop. I'm going to cinch down the white colored loop, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut my white colored yarn because I need to bring it over when I change colors, and that's too far to stretch it. For me anyway, I don't like stretching it that far. So I'm just going to cut tie a knot. And then make sure that it's not too tight here too, where you carried over the yarn, which mine isn't. I have enough room on the inside, because you can see how you stretch over the yarn on the inside. So now I'm ready to crochet one single crochet with my rust colored until I get back around to the change in color again. So now I'm back around. I'm going to go ahead and change colors with you. And remember, I'm not cutting the previous color this time because I need the color to stretch over for my spots. I mean, you could, if it's too far, again, you could cut it and then just join it again over the spot. Mine's close enough to where I can stretch it over. And then I just continue crocheting with my white colored yarn. And again, my rust colored yarn is just sitting there waiting for me to get back to it. And I'm just taking my white colored yarn and making one single crochet up until I get to the first spot. So again, I just want to point out that you have this little tricky loop where we made the color change. You don't want to count that as a stitch. So now I'm just going to take, I have one loop after I finished my single crochet. I have the loop there. That's where you're going to bring the alternate color across, not too tight, and then just bring up a loop. Then you're just going to cinch that white loop down, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the first single crochet of the color. And remember, you only had 2 from the previous round. 1, 2. And you can see how it makes a little cute dot. Now I'm ready to drop the rust colored yarn and pick up the white colored yarn. And then you're just going to bring up a loop with your white colored yarn. You're going to pull on the rust colored yarn to bring that loop around the white color. And then you can hold the rust colored yarn in the back with your finger, and that'll help keep it. Let me pull on it there. Then you just go into the next stitch for a single crochet. And then you can always pull on that rust colored yarn again if you need to. Then just keep going with the white colored yarn until you get to your next spot. And again, I just dropped the rust colored yarn. And again, I come up to the next color change. Then you just take the rust colored yarn, stretch it over, make sure it's not too tight. Bring up a loop, and then I just pull on the white colored yarn, and then I'm going to make my single crochet into the first rust colored single crochet of the spot, my second rust colored single crochet of the spot, and then you have your cute little spots formed. Now I'm going to switch back to the white. I'm going to stretch across the white colored yarn. I'm going to pull on the rust colored yarn, and then at this point I can still stretch the rust colored yarn over, so I'm going to leave the rust colored yarn and then make a single crochet. Pull on the rust colored yarn a little bit. Now I'm up to the next color change. And my loop is small there, so I don't have to worry about an extra stitch. And then I'm going to bring across my rust colored yarn. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot because I'm not going to stretch the white colored yarn across. And then you can resume crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch. So now what I would recommend is a stitch count. You know, make sure, especially if you're a beginner, make sure you have your stitch count maintained. Again, mine was 36. You can see the really clean spots created. You can see the clean angle. There's no bleeding of the other color yarn behind the white colored yarn. Showed you the slant here, and then also how to maintain it straight if you like the straight look. So now I'm back around. I've already made my color change, and you're going to continue 2 more rounds of color changes where you have the white portion. And as far as the spots, I just went ahead and made 1 single crochet. Make sure I don't go behind the white portion. That's behind it. And again, I'm maintaining my stitch count of 36 for each round, and it's turning out nicely. So you're going to continue for 2 more rounds of just the white portion over the spots, and then change colors for the rust colored on the bottom of the body. And when you finish 2 more rounds, then come back. So now this is what the body looks like so far, and I'm back around to my color change. And I just want to show you how many rounds I have. So total I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 rounds. So I need to have a total of 24 rounds. So for mine, what I did was I just continued crocheting around the rest of it with my brown or rust colored yarn. So now the rest of the rounds, up to 24 rounds, I just made all the rust color. And then you use your yarn marker as a guide to help show you what round that you're on. So use your yarn marker to keep track of the rounds. And again, for this puppy dog, I used 24 rounds before I started to close. And you can use my separate video tutorial to finish making your crochet dachshund puppy dog. I also have a separate video tutorial for the larger crochet dachshund dog, which would be a lot of fun too. And you could use some of these methods for the larger dachshund as well. So that does it as far as the perfect color changing techniques to make your own unique little dachshund puppy dog. And if you're interested in becoming a HelenMay Crochet Special Donor member, I'm going to show you this technique. So here you can see I have a little bit larger stitch. You want to make sure you don't go into your first color change stitch, and that you're only going through the little loop that looks like a stitch when it's really not. It's your color changing loop. I'm going to bring up a loop. It's a little bit snug, but large enough to where I want to go ahead and do a single crochet 2 stitch together. And again, if you do this, you're going to want to make sure that you maintain the proper stitch count. And then after this round, you don't have to worry because all your stitches will be easy to make. So again, if you liked this video and you liked how I showed how to make all the techniques for color changing, you can make donations to my blog, which is www.HelenMayCrochet.com, and you can become a Helen May Crochet Special Donor member, and you receive extra benefits. And you can find out what all of your benefits will be by going to my blog. And on my blog at www.HelenMayCrochet.com, just go to the top of my homepage and you will see the link for a Helen May Crochet Special Donor member. Thank you very much, and happy crocheting.